I made it off the block. Not another statistic. Available on headknockers.com or Amazon. You buy it from me, you get a signature, the whole get down. Yo, this your California cousin, Guillermo Eiland. And if you don't know, and if you don't tune in, I'm gonna catch you. Because I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Big Chaz.
My brother.
What's up, man?
I'm good, man. How's the weather? How's the weather in Connecticut?
It's a little cold out. Getting,
I think
little nippy out there.
A little nippy. Yeah, I think we're at a brisk 63 out here in Arizona right now.
It's like that all year, right?
Oh, hell no. Don't we wish? It just dropped down probably about 3 weeks ago. It's been 100, 110, 115. Arizona's, I'm born and raised in Cali. I moved here. Ice-T moved here first, and then he convinced me to move out here. So I did in 2017. Me and Ice actually live like 5 minutes from each other. But Arizona, right around May, it starts 100, 105. Then it gets hotter throughout the summer. Then we have what's called monsoon season. And it's kind of nuts because I don't know of any other state that it'll be 115, but it'll rain, monsoon, and we have this thing called kaboob, where you'll get monstrous, filled with dirt, rain, hail, all at the same time, and it's 115 degrees. And humid as hell. So I didn't get that bad this summer because, I moved to Thailand for about 8 months. I just got back. I had to come back for eye surgery. So I've been back about 2 months. So
one thing I wanted to ask you, I've seen you with Ice-T quite a bit. How did you meet Ice-T? And what was your first introduction to him?
I talk about it in the book, Staxx, but I'll tell you, we lived on 3rd Avenue and 52nd. And which is, 8 blocks from Crenshaw, 12 blocks from Slauson. And I had this neighbor. I'm not making fun of black folks' names. Sometimes they have the best names. But I had these neighbors. The name was Latronia and Kawasha. Might mean water on the knee. I don't know what it means. But she kept saying, "You look like Tracy." She goes, I go to Crenshaw with Tracy, and you look like him, but you got blue-green eyes. He got hazel eyes. I had long hair, and we're 10 years apart. And at that time, I was going to Catholic school, and I lived with my birth giver. She was even though she was a woman of the night and drugs, and she would, don't go around the corner. Don't go around the corner. And if you go through the back of my house, there was it's even to this day that makes me think about it, Staxx. It was this gate for some reason that went through to the next street, which was 4th Avenue. I lived on 3rd Avenue. And I don't know who made it. It went, you heard of an easement?
Yeah, easement.
So it was an easement. I found out years later what an easement meant. But it went through, and it went right facing Angeles Mesa. And Ice-T, Big Casper, rest in peace. Lil D, Steve, I'm trying to remember all their names, but they were called Mesa Bowl, so Angeles Mesa, and they were called Mesa Bowl Hustlers. And it was like, I went through that gate, me and my next door, there was a foster home next door. So me and my best friend, David, I talk about him in the book. We walked through, and we both were told, do not go around that corner, because we went to Catholic school. And I think at that time I was like 10, and I see the school. Remember the movie? What was the movie with the kids that played baseball and the dog? If the ball went in, what was the name of that movie?
I forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
The dog. They were told something field or whatever. It was like that. When we got those, like we saw Angeles Mesa. I only saw Angeles Mesa if we were driving up to Crenshaw to go to the store, but I saw all of it. And I saw two light-skinned dudes. One was Big Cass, rest in peace. And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't think she's talking about him." And he had like a blonde afro, maybe brownish. And then I saw a dude, and they were called TaylorMades. He was playing in TaylorMade slacks, which were the ugliest slacks in the world. But you put these buckles on them, and they were like salt and pepper. And he was playing in Stacey Adams with a perm and a silk shirt. And what people don't know, Ice-T can ball. He is a hell of a basketball player. And I saw him, and I didn't smoke weed as a kid. Nothing. I've never been into nothing. But I wanted to belong. So I went through the gate. I remember they kind of looked at me. I went set, and there was a cat by the Maduro, which was Lil D from Roller 60s. And he was like, "Man, you look like that." And that N word right there. I'm like, "Who?" And he pointed at Ice-T. And it was the first time, like I said, I was about 10. It was the first time I ever smoked some weed. And Staxx, I was in a kite. And Ice-T finally came over. And in all of his graciousness, he went like this. "Sup, little," and walked away. And just over time, we just, and then other cats would flock to him. He wasn't Ice-T the rapper then. He was actually, he wasn't even Ice-T. My bad. He was Crazy T. He was Crazy T. He was not Ice-T. And he was if I was 10 and he's 10 years older than me, so you kind of know how old he was. And he just looked so grown to me. And over time, I would just be at the right places. And there was a club called the Radiotron. Remember the movie Breakin'?
Yeah.
That movie was about the club Radio that was originally owned by some English investors. And Blondie, the singer Blondie, I love these stories, Stack, because as I tell them, it's like you very rarely hear these stories from California. But if you was from the hood, you didn't know nothing about the radio, but it was actually a punk rock club. And Ice-T, he would go everywhere. And then now he's Ice-T. And he did something where he met Fab Five Freddy, because remember Fab Five Freddy was in the song with Blondie.
Yeah.
And start playing hip hop. Ice-T performed. People start going from them. And I think, again, now at this time, I'm like, I think I just got out of juvenile. I was in Sylmar Juvenile Facility.
What did you go to? What did you go to juvenile facility for?
Breaking into back in those days, a hex key would open the bus stop. Not the bus stop, the parking meters. Me and my neighbor Greg, rest in peace, we'd get up about 3 a.m. and sneak out of the house and break into the parking meters and steal all the change you could think of. We got away with it for about a week, and then we got caught. And there was no probation back in those days. You went straight to placement. I went to Clear Creek Juvenile Facility, violated, and then they sent me to Sylmar for 7 months. But yeah, so every time I'd come home, I was a revisitor, Staxx. I was a, had the in and out program.
Yeah.
And every time I'd come home, I'd know where Ice-T was, where he lived. And I'd always have a little more muscle on me. So he'd go, "Oh, you just got out." And, that's my big brother. And I would have no music career if it wasn't for him, because I could have cared less about him. I wasn't thinking about no music, Staxx. I wasn't. I was.
Now you got plaques all over the wall. You're like,
they're fake. The
iconic people that you have done music with.
They're all fake. The troll said I get them from goplatinum.com. So,
oh man,
yeah, I've worked myself. That's this picture right here. Hopefully, I don't lose you. That one right there was about 8 months ago. That's in my office, my other clubhouse. My motorcycle life. And actually, true story. I see the khaki suit that Ice-T has on.
Yeah.
All right. So we have that song Dickies. Yep. That's out. It's a banger. It's me, Ice-T, Greedy Gonzalez, KP, and you remember Down, Lean Like a Cholo. He's on there. And we're at Buca de Beppo. He had never been there, so we're eating Italian food. And I just put my book out. So he's like, man, bring a copy of the book and sign it. So we have a, I think I sent you a picture of us. He's like, man, if we're going to shoot this video tomorrow, we got to get some khaki suits. I said, cuz, what kind of crip is you if you ain't got no khaki suit? And he started laughing. He said, see, that's the problem. You ain't figured out how to let go yet. He goes, I don't keep a khaki suit handy. So we went to Walmart, Staxx, that was right across the street on Ray Boulevard here in Arizona. This is me and Ice-T. Now let's do the levels. This is me. This is Ice-T. And we walk into Walmart, and all of a sudden I've been with him for years, but now we're talking about 66-year-old Ice-T. It was still like 20. It was, are you Ice-T? Yeah. You want a picture? All right, hurry up. Come on. He didn't say no to no one. But the funny thing about that khaki suit, that man dropped his pants right there in the middle of the floor, said, Cass, watch my back. And he put that khaki suit on. He's like, all right, it fit. And we were in and out. So that's what makes him OG Ice-T. There was no celebrity in him whatsoever. So yeah, that's my guy, man. I love him to death. And people don't know he lives, when he films, he lives in Jersey. When he's off, him and the family are here in Arizona.
Yeah, because he does that.
SVU.
Yeah, the SVU, yeah.
Yeah, 26 years. The longest running actor, not black actor, longest running actor on a TV series. 26 seasons.
New Jack City was a
New Jack City
iconic movie. I remember him like it was yesterday when it came out. It was in the 80s. I think it was the 80s, right? Late 80s. Early 90s.
Here's what's crazy about that movie, Staxx. My childhood big brother, his name is Skinny B, Brian Lewis. And him and Mario Van Peebles are best friends. Like Ice-T, Skinny always, I was just a screw up, Staxx. And I met Skinny. There was a club called The Palace in Hollywood. And of course, I had no business being there. I think I was saying 15, 16. I snuck in. Skinny was security there. And it was a night Ice-T was performing. So I snuck in. I met Skinny B. I was sitting in the living room. Swear on my life, man, I died tonight. I was sitting in the living room like 8 months later when Mario was showing Skinny B the treatment for New Jack City and said he wanted Ice-T to be in the movie. So I get to say I have this saying that you can't make this up. You know, all the trolls love that I say it. You can't make this up. I've been around long enough that I've got to experience, but to say that I sat there in the living room in its infancy and got to hear him say, man, I'd love to have Ice-T in the movie. And if you go watch any interview with Ice-T, Mario caught him at a club that was on Pico. I think it was called The Mix or Funky Reggae. I think it was Funky Reggae, and which was owned by 3 childhood friends of mine, Alfred Gregg, Howard Lynch, and David Ferguson. High school dudes. If you've ever heard of Funky Reggae, it was 3 high school dudes. And yes, it was Funky Reggae. It was at their original location. And Mario went up there in a polo shirt, looking preppy, and Ice-T is like, hey, who this? And that's how he pitched New Jack City to him.
1991, it says.
Wow.
91.
And I went to prison in 92, so I didn't get a chance to, see all of it at that time.
I went 96. I went to juvenile, too.
Did you? What'd you go for, Staxx?
Yeah. Stolen cars. Stolen car was the first one.
Where were you living at that time?
With my mom.
No, where? Still in Connecticut or?
Yeah. I was born and raised in Connecticut, but I did a lot of time in juvenile, and then I went to adult prison.
Yeah, that sucks.
First stolen car, then burglary. Second was the next big one.
Do you remember when you gave your number back? Do you remember how old you were when you gave your number back?
What do you mean gave the number back?
Yeah, well, when you get off parole and you finally, we always say when you gave your number back, you're done. You're off paper.
I never heard that saying.
Oh, really? Oh, on the East Coast, they don't.
Never heard that.
Did you have a CDC number?
Yeah. 254.
Yeah, well, we call it when you gave it back, like when you were done, when you're off paperwork. So that's what we mean.
6 years.
There you go.
6
Congratulations.
years ago. Thanks,
Congratulations.
man. Changed my life. I got sober. I started doing this. Changed everything about my life.
You know, I finally, and people need to know, and it's my fault. We've been trying, some people are going, who is this guy? Some people are going, oh, that's Cass. But me and you've been trying to do this for about a year, right?
Yeah, probably longer.
And I want to say to you, eye to eye, I apologize. I just got to that point where I just got tired of doing, but what I started watching your show, and you have an amazing show, brother.
Thank you.
It's I've done No Jumper, I've done Holding Court, I've done American Dope, Without Profit. Only podcast I've ever turned down was Vlad. I turned it down. I did No Jumper, just right after Nipsey passed, 6 in peace. And I got a text from Adam and say, yo, Vlad wants you to do a show. And I was like, and I said, well, have him contact me. And then this producer hit me and said, hey, this producer for Vlad, blah, blah, blah. I still have the email. And I said, well, what does he want to interview me about? True story. Look at the camera, man, I died tonight. And he said, oh, he just wants to talk to you, same thing that you did on No Jumper, same thing you did here. I said, well, then let people go watch that. And that's the only reason why I didn't do Vlad, because it just becomes recycled. What was beautiful about you, I said, hey, do you mind if you're like, yeah, let me know what you want to talk about. And then you let me know what, and once you let me know what you wanted to talk about, I was like, oh, I ain't got nothing to add. Let's do it. Because it wasn't, some things, it just wasn't the same recycled garbage.
Yeah, like stuff you recited the same story 100 times. If I wanted to hear that, I would just pull it up on No Jumper.
Well, there's a new listener every day. I could put a song out. And that song I have with Akon is actually not new.
That's
but to new listeners, thank you, brother. Yeah, it's called Still Locked Up. But, when I did this new deal with Empire, they were like, yo, bring us your catalog. So it's just on a bigger platform now, But nah, man, I'm really proud of you, brother.
Thank you. So you repackaged the song and brung it to him.
Yeah, I was with Empire about 2 years ago, and I sold my catalog. A lot of artists and labels were selling our masters and our catalog. There's a deal on the table right now for my masters. But I left Empire, and I went to go write the book. I made it off the block. Not another statistic. Available on headknockers.com or Amazon. You buy it from me, you get a signature, the whole get down. But I went to write the book. I traveled all over the world. I went to Germany. I went to Egypt. I went to Paris. I moved to Thailand. And I was like, all right. And then my office is here, which I'll do a tour before we're done, of the Muay Thai school. And my business partner, who is a hip hop head, my brother Vin, he was like, he was more of a fan than a friend. And then we created a brotherhood, and he taught me to get back into music, and Empire was like, love, we'd love to have you back. So a lot of new stuff, the new stuff with Jelly Roll. We can get into all that, but shoot away, Staxx, whatever you want to ask me.
You've been involved with motorcycles for a while. You go from being around Ice-T. How do you get involved with the motorcycles? Like, what was your first experience? Did you see one down the street and like, I need to be on one of those? Like, what was the first experience with the motorcycles?
So again, I talk about it in the book, so I won't go but I'll touch on it. My birth giver was this white woman. She had a, fondness for, black men. And she was dating a few cats, but one cat she was dating was from the legendary club Chosen Few. Been around for over 65 years, the oldest interracial outlaw club, 1% interracial club. And then she was dating another brother by the name of Chico that worked at the legendary Magnificent Brothers barbershop on Crenshaw. And man, they'd come by on these choppers. And my other siblings could have cared less. But it was something about those sleds, Staxx, that just, I think I was 9, 10 years old. That time she was still doing drugs. I learned how to cook up 9, 10. But those brothers would come by. But she started dating a cat by the name of Pee Wee, rest in peace, from Chosen Few, who just passed. I think it's been a couple years now. So we started going to the clubhouse. She'd make a picnic basket of food. And it was just like visiting a brother in prison. We go up to the clubhouse, 108th and Broadway. And I'd sit there on this. I swear to you, Pee Wee, if I sat anywhere else, I couldn't tell you, but there was always this brown stool that was next to the bathroom. And she'd say, go sit down. And I'd sit there on that stool and I'd watch all the guys. And then if she got just drunk enough, I knew we were staying for the night. And I was always so blown away by their I don't give up attitude. The dirty jeans with the chaleco, with their vests, just something amazing to look at. And I knew at 9 or 10, I wanted a motorcycle. And for extra money, this interludes how I talk further about it in the book, but for extra money, I was also always into working out. I was just always a strong kid. We had a gym called Nautilus on King Boulevard. Well, it turns into rodeo. So you have rodeo and then you have rodeo. If you're in the black neighborhood, it's rodeo. If you're in the white neighborhood, it's rodeo. So it was a Nautilus behind Crenshaw and Rodeo, because King Boulevard turned into rodeo. And for a membership, I would clean the gym. And there was a big cat by the name of, I want to say his name was Maurice. And he had a Honda something. And he's flirting with this girl. And I was like, Maurice, can I borrow your bike? His name was not Maurice. I wanted to go visit my friend Maurice. I mean, I don't think I've told the story that much, but I really could not remember his name. But he was about 6'4", ex-NFL player, and he was a trainer at the gym. And he was like, you know how to ride? I was like, yeah. And I think I was about 10. And he said, all right, Staxx, I didn't know how to ride. I must have stalled it. Luckily, he's inside flirting with the girl. I must have stalled probably 50 times before I realized just coast. But I took the bike. I was supposed to come right back. I didn't come back till the next day. This man body slammed me. Big grown man, and I'm a kid. He body slammed me. Open hand slapped me. Was it worth it? Every bit of it. Because the things I went and did on that bike for almost 24 hours, not 24, but, through the rest of the night. I think I got it at like 3 p.m. and didn't come back till the next day.
Stalling it.
Oh, yeah.
Traffic.
But the funny thing is, I went to my homeboy. So as a matter of fact, you know what? I can tell you exactly what age I was. Because it was my first year, 7th grade. So actually, I would have been 12. And my friend Maurice had a motorcycle. And he was only in junior high school. So I went to his house. Man, we went everywhere. I met with a girl named Greta. I remember her name. Hey, Greta. And man, I had a time. So that was my first. I knew I wanted a bike, but I bought my first motorcycle. We had a newspaper called The Recycler. So it's like OfferUp or, the Facebook Marketplace, but it was a physical newspaper called Recycler. We would always see these ads of this guy that would be selling these motorcycles in Culver City. And I'm selling weed at the time. I'm working at the barbershop, selling drugs at the barbershop, but I'm the sweeping boy, clean the towels, run errands. And I think I had $150. And I'm looking at his ad, and his ad said bikes from 50 to 500. So I call him. He's like, yeah, come on by. I took the bus, got there. The lowest bike he had was a Norton, like a Norton 125 or something like that. It was all black. He wanted $150. I said, man, I got $80. I had more, but I didn't want to bust my whole wad. And he said,
a lot of money, though. It's a lot of money back then.
We're talking 1979, 79.
That was a real lot of money.
Yeah. So I said, man, I got $80. He said, well, you're going to at least need 90 because you're going to need 4 quarts. He said, where you live? So I'm in Culver City off Jefferson and like Sawtell or something. He said, where do you live? I said, on 3rd Avenue, 52nd. He goes, oh, you're about 20 miles from here. He said, you're going to need about 4 quarts of oil, but it ain't nothing. You need change the gasket. Staxx, I went through 4 quarts of oil to get home. The bike had a blown engine, actually. It was a blown head gasket. But man, I felt so free. That was my first motorcycle. Then I got some more. I got sport bikes. And my first Harley, I was 20. And I had it. I bought it from LA Cycles. It was a 1986. It was called a Moo Glide when AMF owned Harleys. And I bought it. Young lady by the name of Cindy bought it for me. And God, what a dirtbag. I was actually married at the time and cheated with a girl named Cindy. She bought me the bike. I ended up going to prison and losing the bike. But I still have pictures. When we hang up, I'll send you I keep a picture of that bike in my wallet. And it was, 16. I'm every bit of 150 pounds maybe at the time. But it had 18-inch ape hangers, raked front end. So, but never thought about getting in clubs or nothing like that. I just knew I always wanted a motorcycle at that time.
So what was your first introduction to the club?
Well, seeing Chosen Few.
Yeah, once you see them, how do you get involved to even become a part of the clubs?
I knew I didn't want to be, because I was a Crip, and I was like, they got too much red on. And I just... I'm from rolling 60s. I'm not thinking at that age, I'm a part of one thing. So I wasn't thinking about that. I was a late bloomer. I did not get into club life until 2000. And I had to go away and do some federal time. I had to do 16 months in Terminal Island. And I came home. And the young lady I was married to for my birthday, she bought me a 2008 Electra Glide. And I met some cats called Collective Souls. And I was like, well, who? Because I knew about Chosen Few. I knew about other little clubs, knew about Hell's Angels. And they told me they started their own club. I'm like, oh, if you started your own, I'm going to start my own.
Yeah.
Club is still around to this day. And I started a club called Kings Among Kings with 2 other brothers, Deacon. They both were minister dudes, but street dudes, ex-street dudes, Prophet and Deacon. And we started the club. Then we got our 7 and it started getting out there. But here's the funny thing about it. If you go to Instagram and put in Kings Among Kings, it'll pop up. Yeah. The bottom rockers changed. Still spelled the same. Kings with a Z. So everything's a Z. Kings Among Kings. They're out of Riverside or something like that. But the bottom rocker, mind you, I had white members, I had Mexican members. It grew. I ended up having 3 states. I had California, Vegas, and Arizona. But the bottom rocker said neighborhood, which is that tattoo, the NH. It's not NY, it's NH. But the bottom rocker was for neighborhood 60s. So I got white boys with a bottom rocker and a front, I can't think of the name, a front piece with neighborhood, which means neighborhood rolling 60s. And I'm telling them, like, hey, that's what it means. So you better be prepared if anybody asks. We later ended up going state rockers with it. We became a diamond club in 2013. Very, very, very dear brother of mine, Rude Ritchie from the Vagos. Back to Skinny B, Mario Van Peebles, Ice-T. Yep. We remained friends. I talked him into the club. He was already riding. He was riding way before me. He became my vice president. We became, and I didn't ask for no permission. So to anybody watching, I remember we showed up at the COC, with the Confederation of Club meetings, and we had our diamonds on. And Rude Ritchie vouched for us and said, these dudes is the business. I remember standing up. I remember Tata, the national from the Vagos, sitting right in front of me. And it's a room full of Hell's Angels. My beautiful brother, Jason from Hell's Angels, he now has a podcast called Patched. Him and Mooch from the Mongols. So, he hit me. He's like, I didn't know you know Jason. I'm like, that's actually my brother. But I see him. But the room is about 50, outlaws. And he says, who told you could put that 1% on? Staxx, I'm not joking. I don't remember who asked me. Rags from the Mongols was right. Okay, so at that time, Tombstone from the Vagos was the chairman Spike from the Hessians, and Sarge from the Vagos were on the board. Rags from the Mongols, shout out to Rags. He's here just stand like I can feel the daggers because we all in there with diamonds. There's only 2 of us, and then we got 5 outside because only 2 could go in. And I remember someone said, "You got any cops in your clubs, and who blessed your diamond?" And I said, "Man, I'm from rolling 60s, and I'm a convict. If I'm not a 1%er, then nobody is." And Tata started clapping. Rue Ritchie started clapping. The whole room clapped. And that's how we became 1%ers. I had the club up until I was the founder of the National. I had it up until 2013. And I met a brother by the name of Milk. He's been a 15-year chosen few. He stepped to one of my guys, Pancho, who's Kings Among Kings, in Vegas. He's like, "Yo, who blessed y'all?" And I remember my word was, we're not asking. No, I'll ask for forgiveness later, but I'm not asking for permission from nobody. And I stood at Vegas up, and Pancho stood his ground. He said, "Milk want to talk to you." So I went up to Vegas. And he's like, "Yeah, man, you didn't really go through the proper protocols." I said, "Bro, I'm a gangbanger. I'm not asking for I'm not asking for permission." And we became the best of friends. But what started clicking in my head, Staxx, was my birth giver, who did so many degrading things with members of Chosen Few. Some went through my head that even to this day, I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have done it. I have no regrets going to Chosen Few, but I really wish I wouldn't have left my club. I thought, let me wrong a right. What she did was degrading. So I'm going to go to Chosen Few. And I had this beautiful beach house out in Ventura. And I'm out in Vegas. I told Milk, I said, "Man, why don't you come out to the house for the weekend or for the night or something?" So he's like, "Let's do it." So he gets on his sled. He's got his chaleco on, his vest. And the whole 400 something miles, Staxx. And I got my chaleco on, but I keep looking at that Chosen Few. I had told him a little bit of history, but I had this picture in my wallet. And we get to my beach house. We're sitting out on the deck. And it was like the relationship I didn't have with my birth mother. If it makes any sense, I felt like I would have it with these men. It was like I was 10 again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And man, we're sitting there on my deck in my beach house, and he had to go back. He got an emergency call, so he had to go back. But we're at the gym when he got the call. We went and worked out, and we walk outside. Sorry for this long story.
It's all right.
We walk outside, and he's got this Chosen Few support shirt on, and it's a skeleton with a red bandana, and it said, "Support your local Chosen Few." And I said, we're hugging, handshake, about to say goodbye. I said, "You're not gonna be able to leave with that shirt." And Milk is about 6'3", I'm not, I'm muscular, but I'm not a big, tall dude.
Yeah.
And he looks at me like, "You trying to set me up?" He had this look like, "What?" I said, "You're not gonna be able to leave with that shirt." He goes, "What do you mean?" But he kind of pivoted. And I said, "Because I want to come with y'all." He said, "You're gonna leave your club that you have 3 states and you're gonna prospect?" I said, "Yeah."
And you're the president at the time.
And I'm the national. Not just I'm the.
How are you gonna tell your club though? Like, what was your plan with that? You were gonna go tell them?
Like I said, the emotions, and we could touch on this. You always hear this thing of club hopping. But we hugged, and it just felt right. And I called Pancho. He's the only one I called. And I said, "This is what we doing." And I've known Pancho, oh my God, we're going on at least 45 years we've known each other. And I've known Skinny about the same. So I called Pancho. He said, "I'm doing whatever you're doing." I called Skinny, and he's like, "Man, I can't. I'm going to stay a king." And my brother Bull, I told all them, I'm leaving. And I left the club. I left it to them. In the end, they all ended up coming over too. A few guys, stayed. And like I said, the club is still around today. They're just a little different now. But I wanted it so bad, I moved to Vegas. See, I'm one of those dudes that if I walk in with you, Staxx, I'm riding with you. I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting with you, and I'm walking out with you. And I moved to Vegas and went prospecting for Chosen Few. And I was in Chosen Few till 2017. I'm sorry. I moved to Arizona in 2017. I was there till 2019. And then I left the motorcycle club thing for about a year. And then I went to the Vagos after that. But which we can touch on.
What was the prospecting like for the Chosen Few? Was it a hard?
Woo! Well, I was considered superstar cast. So it was a lot of hazing. Oh, you that superstar prospect. So I'm living in Vegas. I got this beach house. I got this house on the lake in Vegas, because I got a little bit of money. I got none now. IRS, I got nothing. And matter of fact, I'm paying Staxx to interview me. But but it was a humbling. One thing about the motorcycle world, Staxx, I hate the word brotherhood. I hate it with a passion. I live by every brother ain't your brother. If we ain't never, I don't do drugs, so I can't sit here and say did drugs or drank, but if we ain't never broke down together, really had moments where we was ready to end our lives or our lives about to end, we're not brothers.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you have to respect people that you wouldn't even stand next to. And your prospecting phase is actually supposed to be your most fun. You're supposed to learn everything. I always tell cats, that's when you're supposed to have because you get to sit there and watch stuff you are warned about or learn about. It was hard, because again, nobody ever tested me, but I was hazed. But I did everything I was supposed to do. But you're having someone try to check you that can't whoop you. That's what makes a prospect a good prospect. You may have, hey, prospect, come over here and clean this trash up. That's right next to me, right by my foot. And you little goat mouth mother could have picked that up yourself. But it's a test. Now you have men that know brotherhood that goes, no, I'm not. Why am I gonna? That I always tell guys, that guy that you haze in a disrespectful manner, he might get patched one day. And he's gonna remember your punk. It wasn't a lot of that, but again, I live in California, but I'm prospecting in Vegas. So I'm living there too. So it was a lot of back and forth. I had opened a restaurant at that time called Beers and Wings. Is no longer around, but I can tell you, and I'll send you the picture afterwards. I remember I got the call and it was like, yo, you need to be in Vegas tonight. And I got ran over on my motorcycle, so I didn't even have a bike. So I jumped in my old lady's car. Why did I jump in her car? I don't know why I didn't.
You got ran over on your bike.
No, it wasn't that. No, I had a Mercedes at the time, but I don't know why. I think the gas, because I had a V8, that SL 500, and I was like, well, let me use your because I knew it was going to be a turn and burn. But I'm not knowing what I'm going for. They were aggressive, like, yo, you need to have your ass. Well, Pancho already lives in Vegas, and I smash. We walk in the room. We stand in the room of about 20 dudes in the clubhouse. And I swear to you, Staxx, it reminded me of sitting in that clubhouse on 108th and Broadway. And I remember standing in that room and it was like, yo, take those cuts off. Take your vest off. I'm like, I'm taking nothing off. And dudes, take your vest off. I'm like, no, I'm not taking nothing off. And I remember Mob James was a part of the Vegas chapter. And oh man. Staxx, you want to say sometimes you just go, nah. But Mob James was, Mob James is the son of, he's a son of a Chosen Few. But Mob James, who was such a mentor to me. So it really hurt my feelings when I heard about what he said about me. But I will never reciprocate other than Mob James' daughter was engaged to my best friend, Big Ice, rest in peace, Rolling Six. So when I tell you, I know Mob, tomorrow's like, yo, Mob James, you ever cat said about you? But I remember people were like, yo, and I remember Mike's like, yo, come out that cut. And it was me and Pancho. And Pancho standing his ground. And I'm like, I'm not coming out because, you're told you don't let nobody have your chaleco. And Milk goes, because they're getting aggressive. And I'm like, I'm professional with these. So it ain't about to just go down the way. Y'all going to win the fight, but you're going to know you're in a fight. Somebody get knocked out before I go down.
Yeah.
And, you are my enemy the moment you talk about taking my chaleco. And Milk goes, man, we just with you, man. And we get our colors that night. Staxx. This is where I left the story. So I had 2 bikes. The one I got ran over was a 2013 Road Glide, and I still had that Electra Glide. It was at Milk's house. No, it was at the clubhouse. I'm sorry. And all I wanted to do, the same way when we prospected, I wanted to put that chaleco on and ride. And the crazy thing, everybody in church that night didn't have their bikes, but me and Poncho. No, even Poncho didn't have his bike. Everybody else was in their cars. And all I said was, Poncho, get behind me and turn on your camera. And I don't care where we go, and just get footage of me, because I'm a proud chosen few. It felt amazing. I took the bike back, jumped in the car, and then went home. And I had 7 pick me up, and I went right back that 2 days later and was up there for like a week, but that was my first, outside of having Kings Among Kings, going to Chosen Few. And I was in Chosen Few till they retired me because of trolls. You got kicked out of Chosen Few. They retired me in 2019.
So you were in it for quite a while.
13 to 2019. I got kicked out once before me and the National got into it. Then I came back a year later, maybe 8 months later. I went and hung. I'm going to talk about it. I have a new book called Many Roads Traveled. So for about 8 months, I went and hung out with my brother, who was in 81. And that's a whole other story we'll get into next year when the book comes out. But yeah, man. And I went from Chosen Few to the Vagos.
So you get retired from Chosen Few. How do you get introduced to the Vagos? You knew some people that were.
I knew Rue Ritchie. Rich, Skinny B. So Skinny B's married to Rue Ritchie's sister. And if you go watch the documentary, which is on my site, Life of a 1%er on headknockers.com, it's the only interview in history where you got the Mongols and the Vagos sitting in the same interview. It's not clips from how other guys do it, no, they're sitting in the same interview. And Rue Ritchie talks about the first and only black member of the Vagos. And he talks about Gorilla, who, I'll give you the picture if you've never seen it. It's a picture of a black man holding a Vagos chaleco with a white boy and a Mexican on the other side. 1971, I think. He was the only black member. His name's Gorilla. And something happened because of politics. Not politics, politics. He ended up going to Chosen Few. And his son to this day is the beautiful Magnificent, who's been in the club for years. But Skinny B is married to Rue Ritchie's sister. I'm starting to hang, Chosen Few and the Vagos have a great relationship. So we'd always go to their function. I'd see Richie. He's introducing me to more people. They came to my screening for my movie Glass. And I'm at an event. And like the Chosen Few thing, I told Richie, I said, man, my dad taught me some, Staxx. He said, there's a journey and there's a destination. It's like meeting a girl is the journey, courting her. And then the destination is if you guys get married and, make it official. And I just felt like I hadn't got to my destination yet. So when I left Chosen Few, I actually went back to Kings Among Kings. That's why I messed up the story. I went back to Kings Among Kings for a few ticks. And I go up at a Vagos annual for San Bernardino. And Richie said, oh, you went back there? I was like, yeah. He goes, well, one day you'll figure it out. I said, well, let's figure it out. He said, we're trying to stand Arizona up. They've been trying to stand Arizona up for a while. They were in Nevada, but they weren't in Arizona. He introduced me to some cats that were already there in Arizona, but they had not officially, brother by the name of Debo, Sin, good guys. And there was some heads, but they had not, because of the silly politics with the other clubs. And I said, I want to be a part of it. I hung around for about 4 months, did my paperwork, maybe a little longer. Did my paperwork. My paperwork came back. Bigfoot was the national at the time. He's no longer in the club. I remember the night we rode to Tucson and I got voted in as a prospect. And then after about 60 days, I was asked, because some other stuff, I was asked to go to Green Machine, which is their other, and I became president of Green Machine, which is still Green Nations. They wear damn near,
like a support club, kind of?
Huh?
Is it like a support club for?
Nah, no. Silent Ones is their support club. Green Machine was their brother club. Vagos wear Loki, Green Machine wear Loki. The god of mischief. Vagos wear MF, Green Machine wore MF. So it's more their brother club. So actually, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and be honest. So my nationality is Latino and white, but we know what car I go to, heaven forbid, when I used to go to prison. I'm from rolling 60s. Yeah. Not anymore. But we know what car I go to, no matter how blue my eyes are, no matter how light skinned, even though my name is Guillermo Eiland, I go to the black car.
If you weren't in the 60s, you would go to the other car, right?
I'd probably, if I wasn't, I would have been, because I'd be considered Cuban or Puerto Rican or, you know what I mean? I'm Ecuadorian, but yeah, if I was from that black car. I remember getting the car. You're actually the first person I'm telling this story to. I was going to wait to put it in the book, but I don't want to. I was put out of the Vagos. I was called by the king. So me, Debo, and another cat, we had to be there like 9 that night. And man, I cried like a baby, Staxx, because I felt like I was at my destination with the Vagos. Yeah. And they're inside. I can hear them, but I can't know I don't know what they're saying. And I get called in the room, and Bigfoot standing right there in the middle of the room. I got my prospect cut on, my chaleco, and Bigfoot goes, man, I don't want to just throw nobody away. And this is what he says, Staxx. He says, but I just can't sell you. I can't sell you. Someone complained about me. It was like, oh, we let in now because, the music I do. So it's okay when a white boy or Mexican raps but the fact that my following is so African-American, I hate that word, black, urban, this certain individual, which I won't even give him the credit for saying his name, him and Bigfoot were like this. And I start getting the question. No, I get the question at night. If something happens, what car are you going to ride with? I said, brother, hey, that's all you, I'm not thinking about ever going back. Hold on. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But we know what car I'm going to. There's no Vago car. There's no Hell's Angel car. There's no Mongo car. One thing that I hate is when they talk about why they don't let blacks in other clubs. They'll say, oh, because of prison politics. When you go to jail, if your name is Sam Elliott, you're going to that bench over there. Whether if there's Nazi lowriders over there, whether if there's Aryan, whether there's non-associate, you're going to that part of the yard over there. Your name is Hector Gonzalez. You're going to that over there. Your name is Jamal Wilkes. You're going over there. So there is no, now you may be in there as a Hell's Angel, but you're still going over there with the Woods.
Yeah.
So you don't want in your club because you just don't want in your club. That's it. It worked. I just got back from Thailand. I just got back from Australia. There's blacks in the Mongols over there. So they're figuring it out. But it was, we know you're Latin. And mind you, the whole time, Rue Ritchie's sitting down right behind me. And I was told, I can't sell you. And brother, I broke out into tears like a 10-year-old. Like I just got kicked off the team.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing about how this worked. So I was too black to be a Vago, but I wasn't black at all. And I was able to become the president of Green Machine.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So I'm going to the same functions. And nothing, no spite. I think it was just Bigfoot because the support that I got, Spike from the Vagos, man, the Tombstone, before Tombstone was put out, man, I got so much support. Like, man, y'all lost a good one. I remember Kane, the national for Green Machine. I remember he told Bigfoot, y'all lost a good dude, but we happy to have him. And I grew Green Machine along with a brother by the name of Red, that's now a Vago, because he was Bullhead, and I was all of the rest of Arizona, from Phoenix all the way to Tucson to Tombstone. So I had about.
So you stayed in the Green Machine after this little incident where they.
So because it was like, even though it was really a spit in the face, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't really want to try to compare it to nothing because it might sound like an insult to what I'm going to compare it to, but it's like, we're going to let you go. And I go to the front. You're like, I'm out. I'm done. Got to take my chaleco off. I got to give it back. And no, I didn't have to give it back that night. I gave it back a couple of days later. But I'm in the front yard and I'm crying. Then Richie comes out. He goes, man, I did not want this. He goes, I tried to fight for you. He goes, it don't make no sense. And he said, you know, we have a brother club called Green Machine. No, someone said, why don't you go to Silent Ones? He's like, how's he look going from Kings Among Kings, Chosen Few, to a support club? They're like, no, we have a brother club. Their patch is amazing. It's Loki on old Springer with his middle finger up. It's the best patch I've ever seen in my life. And I might have joined just because the patch was so dope. I'm obviously not, but he was like, and I'd seen Green Machine. And he says, why don't we'll talk to them. And the next day I get a call from the National. He goes, yeah, I heard, and blah, blah, blah. And I was in the club fully patched as a member about 2 weeks later. And then they made me president about a month later. And I was there for about a year. Then Green Machine, been around since the 80s, some inner friction. And at that time I was just like, I'm done.
It's a lot dealing with all these personalities, right?
It's to go from, and I'm multiracial, so I know how to multiply be around. But it just became, it was some inner workings. And I don't know if they shut Green Machine down, but I know they shut a lot of chapters down. And Arizona was on the chopping board. It was a lot of, Vagos runs, Mooch did an interview, and Vagos runs a pretty tight ship. It just, I don't want to get too much into it, but it was becoming a lot of problems. So they were talking about taking the state rockers. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to trip on this. So I left. I was done for about 2 years. And let's touch on club hopping real quick. We're good on time?
Yeah.
I've saw trolls that don't even live in this life call me a club hopper. If an NFL player goes to 5 different teams, is he a football hopper? You go where you're still wanted. You go because you still have it. It's like a fighter. Before we're done, I'm going to walk you out so people know I'm a professional fighter. This is what I do. So my office is here, but it's inside of a gym. I get the best of both worlds. And, it's like a fighter. It's like Mike Tyson, fighting Jake Paul. We know all that's BS. That's for a paycheck. But you still don't want to be hit by Mike or Jake. I knew my journey I hadn't hit my destination, even though I thought I did. To the ones that say club hopper, it takes your minute to find your footing. Now I'm fully retired. Done. I'm done. Retired from the Thunderguards. Shout out to the beautiful, beautiful Thunderguards. They retired me as a nomad. And, I did a lot.
They're an iconic club. The Thunderguards.
Huge. And they were not here in Arizona. We're not. There was a few cats here, but they were wearing California rockers. I'm allowed to say this. I stood Arizona up, along with some amazing guys. But I got the call. Me and Ice-T are best friends. He lives in Jersey. Cat who he knows. Like, he saw an interview with me and Ice, and he was like, man, my national wants to talk to him, wants to meet him. I get on the phone with him. He's like, man, I'm just a fan of yours. I'd love to meet you. I love watching your videos and how inspiring you are about this outlaw life. And they kind of, I didn't know they was going to ask me to stand the nation up. I thought they was going to ask, come in. And there was no chapter here. You're talking about a combustible pot of that. Thunderguards were told they were never going to stand up in Arizona. Never. There was other clubs that were like, yo, they better not stand up here. And more like-minded people from Sin City, Outcast, Wheels of Soul, who knew me, were like, oh, okay. And it's been okay. It's been little ups and downs, but there's another cat by the name of Red that runs a charter out here. I brought him in, and he's running a successful charter. The charter that I had when I was done, that's loyalty, Staxx. When cats go, oh, I'm your brother, I'm your brother. When I said I was done, I swear to you, they all said they were done.
So they basically followed you through the whole
every
process.
single one of them. Every single one of them. The day I said I was moved, we were in my clubhouse, not ours. It was mine. I never asked them to pay dues on it, nothing. And I broke some rules. You know, Thunderguards don't allow whites, which that's, you know, but I broke the rules. I brought some white boys in. And
is it true that the Thunderguards is part of the pagans? Like not part of the but they're, I don't know how to explain it. Like
a brother club.
Brother
like
club,
a brother
yeah.
club. If you watch the interview with Low Key on Demon's Row, Low Key speaks on it the same way someone from Chosen Few would speak on it. Chosen Few lives by the motto, they're cool with who's cool with them. So you may be somewhere and get some flack from this club. It goes, oh, you hang out with this club. No, I'm cool with who's cool with me. The pagans actually blessed us with our diamond many, 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 many years ago, but we were never a support club. There's actually a patch that I have that says Thunderguards, then the 1% diamond in the middle, and then pagans patch, and then it says brothers. So never was a support club, but not everybody, you know, just kind of, you know, the Thunderguards were been around since 1965.
Yeah, there used to be an African American pagan. There used to be.
Yeah.
And then, because I've heard that the Thunderguard brings the thunder and the pagans bring the lightning.
Well, there's some dark pagans now, but we'll call them Dominican. We'll call them Puerto Rican. But, you know, you had Knuckles, who went over to the pagans. Knuckles used to be a Hell's Angels. Can't get too deep into that, but he was a Thug Rider. Then he went to Hell's Angels. Then he went to Pag. No, he was a Thug Rider. Then Thunderguard. No, Thug Rider, Hell's Angels, Thunderguards, then pagans. But he's Puerto Rican. You know, I always say, man, if you're still in the top tier, you're not a club hopper. You're just someone that brings something to the club. So to answer the club hopper thing, you're a club hopper, you go down. You don't stay at that. But, you know, for me, you know, I lost my eyesight. As we're talking, anybody keeps seeing me rub, this eye was just replaced. Medicine is amazing. My retina, my cornea, and the inner bulb and the membrane was changed. So someone passed away. May they rest in peace for me to have this left eye. I get this right eye this Thursday. So that's another reason why I came back in Thailand, because they wouldn't accept my insurance in Thailand. And I didn't want to pay $20,000 for surgery. You know, it was time. I can't, you know, as a national, as a nomad, sorry for when I get bent out of shape, because some people will say, oh, national nomad. I'm a nomad. You know, I had a long talk with Chuck, and I'm like, right, I've probably been doing this way too long. I've been doing this since 2010. And there's people that are still doing it, but I'm doing it with no eyesight. Even though I could see you, Staxx, I can only see out this left. It's going to take a while for my body to adjust this. It's a transplant.
But that's wild. You could see out of an eye from a person that passed away.
If you look at any pictures I sent you, Staxx, my eyes were very bright blue. If you look closely, they're gray now.
Yeah, that's wild.
They're gray because
does it feel different when you look at it?
It does. This one doesn't feel like it fits because my body's trying to get used to the, you know, it's somebody else's eye.
Yeah, like the size of it probably.
And yeah. Yep. So like right now as we're talking, it feels like something's in my eye, but that's just my body. You have to wait. You know, your tear duct has to get used to the new eye. The reason why they turn gray, so this is the third transplant. I've gotten 2 transplants and they didn't work. Well, if you're getting somebody else's eye, you're getting somebody else's retina, somebody else's cornea, you're getting whatever color you can. They try to, these just happen to be gray. But I can see I'm back riding. I'm not crossing any state lines just yet because the whether it's nighttime and it's the headlights, it's blinding. So I got to wear special glasses. I'm supposed to be wearing a patch on this eye because you don't want, even though I cannot see out of my right eye, they want you to wear a patch. I just get tired of wearing it. But, it was time to retire. And there's a few people that I want to say that looked out for me. Chuck, the vice national, Dear John, the national, Quick, X, and Monk. Those cats looked out for me tremendously. They gave me such huge acknowledgement for what I did for standing a state up. Because Staxx, when I tell you it was issues, it was, they will never stand up in Arizona. And I made it a point to go, well, these ain't high heels, baby, and we don't run, so we here.
Oh.
These cats were patient with me because I got a terrible temper. I want to fight everybody. They say, let's fight and have a beer. Nah, once I fight you, I hope your mama gets anal cancer. I don't give 2 shit. I don't care if we wear the same patch. If I got to put my hands on you, that means I have to hate you, because you think we're going to fight. I'm a professional fighter. I'm going to hit you a way you ain't never been hit before. Any trolls that, I'm not trying to sound like a tough guy, but Staxx, I'm at the same gym 5 days a week. When you post something online, it says where you're at.
Yeah.
It clearly says that I'm here. I have never had a troll or a hater. I used to issue out plane tickets. I used to issue out bounties, like come whoop my ass, because it just got so disgusting. And somebody's going, oh, look, he's trying to sound tough. No, I'm sounding like it gets tiring. Like, ain't you got nothing better to do? You had nothing better to do than to go on my page. I see stuff that I want to criticize, but I just go, and I don't get this time back. And last time I checked my bank account, I can't afford to just waste that time.
Yeah, but I used to get into it too, but it's like, for what?
Well,
for what?
I will tell you what made this retirement, what made me go to the Thunderguards was how amazing Sin City was. There was no relationship with Thunderguards in Sin City. None. Others, I pulled up to Colorado and they damn near parked my bike for me. They were so, but you know how states are, different beefs, different areas. And Arizona, the president, J-Rock, my real brother, he's a president of Sin City of a chapter here, my brother Torch. It's been such an amazing journey to be like-minded. Fat D from Outkast, Cats from Wheels of Soul, my relationship with the Mongols. I don't have a relationship with Hell's Angels. I have zero relationship with them. And that's their choice. I don't have, I had because of my brother. I was up under Rusty Coons for a little while, hanging out with them. But I will tell you this. There's no motorcycles in jail. You can't put it on the back of a hearse. So this fake war that you guys are killing each other over that happened in Laughlin, or somebody's usually over a female, or over, it's never been a state thing. It's just a bully thing. But I go wherever I want to go. Like, oh man, don't go to Cave Creek. I'm at Cave Creek. I was sitting on the side of a road last week and a Hell's Angel passed right by me, and man, respectfully, that dude looked at me and I looked at him. He did a U-turn, did it again, and kept it pushing. Applaud to that guy, because he was like, whatever thought in his mind, and he caught me dead right. I was just, but I'm from Rolling 60 Crip. I still got other Crips and Bloods that would kill me at 56 years of age. For this tattoo, for that tattoo, and the stuff I've done. You think I want to die over some dumbass patch, over a piece of material? I love the tradition of the motorcycle world. I love the tradition. I love the history. I said something to my brother, Jason, You know, he was a Hell's Angel for, I think, 6 years. And I was there when he left. And I said, you know, Jason, the only thing you get from this is memories and miles. And he retyped it. He goes, wow, that's a good one. Memories and miles. And I said, yeah, that's all you get. You don't get a watch. They usually want your colors back. You know, I still have mine retired. Mine actually said retired on it.
They keep going without
you. Yeah.
Yep.
You're a memory. So only thing you want to get out of it is good memories. You know, I talked to a brother last night and I was dropping a bike off because a bike I bought in Germany, I sold it before I moved to Thailand. I'm getting the bike back. And a brother by the name of AP, and I hope it's okay that I said his name, but he's a soldier. And he said, you know, what made you leave? I said, I hit my destination. And the moment it stops being fun, you know, I was with Bone Thugs and Harmony from 98 to 2009. It stopped being fun around 2004. I ended up buying Mo Thugs in 2007. It became an investment in 2007, which made me stick around a couple more years. But if anybody goes and pulls up the video, Big Cass, Change Gonna Come, at the end of the video, I walk off stage at the Honda Theater in Anaheim, I think it was, or the Arrowhead or whatever it was. It was December 23rd, 2009. It was always the last show we did of the year before Christmas. And at the end of the song of Change Gonna Come, I walk off stage. My motorcycle was in the back. I'd rode to the show that night because we went all around the world, all around the state, but we always end the show in California. I got on my bike and I'm, with the exception of seeing Lazy Bone last year, leaving a podcast, I'm showing up as a podcast and he didn't talk to me and I didn't talk to him. Once it stops being fun, it's over. I still love 1% life. I don't love club life anymore. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. We were talking earlier about what makes a 1%er, a true 1%er.
I hear so many guys talk about, you know, they go with the Harley Davidson, you know, 99% are law abiding and it's that 1%. I don't go by that. I don't go by that because I know guys that wear 1% diamond that are not 1%ers. And I don't mean it disrespectfully. And if you take it disrespectfully, then you're probably not a 1%er. A 1%er to me does not do politics, does not raise bait, and doesn't do religion. I put out something last week. I said, look, I said, no matter what the turnout is going to be tomorrow, meaning the election, I said, you're still going to be pulled over and be guilty before innocent. You're going to be treated like a felon. The stop will be a felony stop. And whoever you vote for does not give two shits about you. You are considered an insubordinate. You are considered the degrading part of America as not a weekend rider, not a guy wearing his eagle patch for the weekend, as a 1%er. You are going to be treated like trash. There's not a separate piece of paper for black people. There's not a separate piece of paper for Mexicans. There's not a separate piece of paper for 1%ers. You fall in a different dynamic. And I said, here's what you can't keep doing as a 1%er. You can't be in, if you can find a picture of me ever going like this, and you know, bikers always like, I swear to you, Staxx, I'll give you $1,000. So somebody's gonna have to Photoshop it. Because I never got that. Like, why am I gonna take a picture? Especially if someone's standing next to me and I'm going like this, because don't it look like I'm saying fuck him? I never got that. And then if I'm doing it saying the world, no, I like the world. I love living in it. I may say the establishment, the politics, but to me, what I said, you can't be sitting up here with your middle finger and wearing hats saying F the world, but then you're voting. Because I'm not, you know, people say, oh, then how are you going to get change? When I showed up at my office, Staxx, nothing about my office said I need a president to help me do something. Nothing. When I made my house payment, which is $3,000, there was nothing about a president that's the real estate market. So to me, what makes a one percenter, you ever met that guy from your neighborhood, Staxx, that was just that guy that just seemed like he was beyond intelligent? And you could sit with him for hours.
Yeah.
A one percenter is that guy that is usually sitting in one spot doing absolutely nothing, but for some reason it seems interesting. You know, my daddy used to always tell me what makes a good, strong one percenter and a leader, people will follow you. And even if you turn left and you're going the wrong way, they think you're going the right way. A one percenter is just a person that says, man, whatever y'all are doing over there, I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to stay in this spot. I don't think a one percenter means that you have it on your chaleco. I don't care if it's tattooed on your body 10 times. If you do not give respect, you do not deserve respect. If your woman talks to you like trash and your kids don't like you and you're a plumber and before you got that patch, news bulletin, you're a plumber and with a patch. I have met 2000. So I came home in 2010. So you can say, like I said, I got in a motorcycle life 2010, even though I was around it my whole life. I can say I've maybe met. So we're talking, how many years is that, Staxx? 26 years? I'm sorry, 16 years. 2010 to 2000. So what are we in? 2024?
14.
So 14. Okay. So in that many years, I've maybe met a handful of one percenters. Boss Mike, rest in peace. That's a one percenter. Chuck from Thunderguards. That's a one percenter. Cinco from the Mongols. That's a one percenter. My brother Jason, Hell's Angel. That's a one percenter. Rags from the Mongols. That's a one percenter. Rude motherfucking Richie. That's a one percenter.
Have you seen people that put the patch on and it makes them act like there's somebody they're not?
You know, we get guys that come to the gym and say, can you teach me how to fight? You know what's the first thing we say? I can't teach you how to fight. I can teach you techniques. You won't know if you can fight until you get in a fight. So every Friday, we have an open floor. So if you've been training Monday through Thursday and you keep missing Friday, you're just a student. If you train Monday through Thursday and you show up Friday to fight, you're a fighter. You ain't got to wait for a fight. We fight every single Friday. You know, sadly, you know, I brought in a lot of people into the motorcycle world, a lot. And I always tell them, I said, do me a favor. Don't do drugs because you should know how that movie's going to end. And don't throw up, you know, don't throw up little gang signs for your club that you think means your club. Because if it looks like a gang sign, some gangbanger going you know, test your chin. But definitely don't get caught up in the drugs. And usually 95% of the time, that's the first thing I see is they get caught up in drugs. You know, you're at your most humble when you're a prospect. For some reason, you know what's crazy, Staxx? I'm still one of those indebted type, like I'm still a prospect, even though I'm retired. Now I'll get the food. You guys go ahead. Everybody knows I like to see everybody else happy. I always work the bar and I don't drink. I have my own alcohol. Outlaw vodka. Type it in right now. Outlaw vodka. You'll see me pop up. I own Outlaw vodka, Outlaw Moscato, and Outlaw Merlot. I sold the company to a company called Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I made enough and they gave me a check, but I also don't really drink. I had a moment, but then it was like, nah. But I used to work the bar at every event because I wanted to see everybody else happy. And I wanted to regulate how people were drinking because I wanted them to get home safe. So if they got to 4 or 5, I'm like, bro, I'm cutting you off. One, it's my clubhouse. So, but I wish guys understood. You're supposed to be a one percenter without your chaleco. Mooch, my beautiful brother Mooch, go get his book. He did a show and he said, and it's been talk since he did the show. And he said, you're not a one percenter after you leave the club. And I called Mooch that night. He said, you know, it stays with the club. And I called Mooch that night. He didn't pick up, so I left him my audio, Mooch, you know. And I said, Mooch, you're wrong. I said, you, my friend, are a 1%er. Because how me and Mooch met was I went up to Oakland. I was on my documentary tour, Life of 1%er, available on headknockers.com. And I got an invite from the Mongols to meet them up in Oakland. Never met the guys. Got an email from a guy by the name of Speakeasy. I can show you the pictures. I go to East Oakland. I'm Latino. You invite me for beer and tacos, I'm showing up. So I sea-lined over. We met it in East Oakland. We're right around the corner from East Bay Dragons. But I'm like, they do know this is those other guys' area too. Before I can get a beer or a taco, more than a dozen of those other guys showed up. And it was a standoff over 30 minutes. Calmer heads prevailed. And bro, I'm talking 30 minutes of double dutching, like who's going to take off first and people. And then I remember somebody showed up and was like, oh, Big Cass, where's your bike? It's over there. Don't you think you should get on? Nah, bro, you don't tell me what to do. I was chosen few at the time. And he was like, all right, kill him too. I'm going to talk about it in the new book, Many Roads Traveled. But it made it look like I was supporting the Mongols. No, like I told you, if I walk in with you, I'm fighting with you. I had no dog in that fight, but when it kicked off, you and I both know, Staxx, I could have turned my back and, man, hey, this got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Say whatever the you want about me. But there was 3 other Mongols there that will vouch that I never left. I never left. I couldn't do it. Not only did I not leave, when we hang up, I'll see you the video. The other 2 went one way, and I escorted the other one all the way home. And when Mooch, he called Mooch, I didn't even know who Mooch was. He was the rep. Him and the twin brother were reps. And he's like, man, why'd you stay? And I cracked a joke. I said, man, I'm Latino. He offered me beers and tacos. I'm showing it. And it turned out this don't drink, and he's a vegetarian. I don't want to eat I'm not an aeritarian. I'm a vegetarian. And I said, no, but truthfully, I couldn't. And I recorded myself because I wanted to show my club, hey, man, this is why I'm doing it. And I escorted them all the way home. And we're best friends this day. Shout out to Livewire. But, you know, it's just you're a 1%er. You're not a 1%er because you're in a club. The club only allows you to exercise that. But whether if you're plumbing or you're a doctor or you're Staxx or what, if you're a 1%er, man, when you're sitting there eating dinner, you're not eating it like a carnivore, like, oh, 1%er, it's good meatloaf. You know, you see everything through a different angle. And to me, what makes me a 1%er is I give 0, and I am the most polite guy. I say thank you, hello to everybody. But once you don't reciprocate that back, all bets are off. I wish nothing good for you. You know, people are like, oh, that's that. I said something in an interview, and I still to this day, you know who Sway is? Sway in the Morning?
Yeah, of course.
That's a very dear brother of mine. And, you know, Sway's had Holly Berry, Samuel Jackson, and he was doing a California show last month. He says it was technical difficulties, but I've seen way less on his show. And towards the end of the interview, the conversation came up, and I said, nah, man, I wish death on your kid. And he's like, man, we sitting up here talking about your book. I made it off the block. And you said you changed. I said, yeah, I changed my address. I changed my bank account. I said, but my heart is if you cross me, that person that's trying to hurt me, do you think he's thinking about my kids, Staxx?
No.
So why should I? And my interview somehow got damaged. And Sway, if you watch this, bro, you know you never let me back on your show again. But I noticed Heather B immediately got up and didn't say goodbye. And it went from like hugs and to them not airing my interview. And I told my brother a couple of days later, Sway,
it was because of that.
I think so. You're the first person I'm telling this to. I've literally tried. Luckily, we recorded some of it, and you can pull it up. It's on YouTube. Just put Sway in the Morning, Big Cass, Guillermo Eiland. But I knew the interview went left the moment I said that. He was like, you really wish someone's kid would die? I said, yes. Violently. I don't wish that just because you're purple or if you've done something to me, you're definitely not thinking about my kids, especially if you want to take me away from them, or they might be with me. So yes, as my enemy, I want everybody deadly. I can say that with a straight face, and I don't mean it. I don't have a malicious bone in my body as I'm saying it. I'm saying as if some people will pray to God. If you do something to me that stops my motivation of living, that will take me away from people that loves me, man, I wish absolutely nothing good for you. And I said, Sway, look how quick this conversation just went. And he's like, oh, I just don't understand how you said you changed. And I said, is that person thinking about me when the interview was over? And I never saw it aired. He said, technical difficulty, we'll do something later. I'll probably never see Sway again. And for people that have, they heard it. The reviews have been great. You know, Sway talks about, I just got out of prison.
Yeah, when he met you, right? When
you
saw
it, right?
Yeah.
So you saw it. He saw me at a restaurant. And I thought I met him somewhere else. And he was like, nah, you don't remember meet me in Palm Springs? And I remember when I got out of prison, I went to go sell drugs in Palm Springs because it was new at that time. Strong gay community that loved, you know. And so that's how we met. But, you know, I still applaud Sway because we still went live. I just wish I could pull up that interview, but all of it's gone. All of it, you know. So, you know, I say that to say that that's what makes me a 1%. If I say it, man, I can't rewind it back. Some people, that makes them obnoxious. If I say it, since we've been sitting here doing this interview, a little tap on my door has been going off for the last 30 minutes. That's my 5-year-old niece, who's obviously not my blood. Sorry, my 4-year-old niece. And all she wants to do is just be with her Uncle Cass.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? That's what makes me a 1%er. That I must do something. There's over 100 fighters out there right now. And she's literally been tapping on my door because she just wants to be with her Uncle Cass. You know, that I don't have I don't have a relationship with my daughters. I've got 4 beautiful daughters. Some I haven't seen in years. You know, this club life. You know, because you put your club first. And I was every other weekend dad. And I remember one of my daughters is named after me. Her name is Cass. It's her legal name. And I remember we were in my swimming pool and she kept loving on me. And I've never kissed my kids on the lips because I was molested by my birth giver. So I never wanted to feel like they felt strange about that. And sorry about that, man.
It's not a story, man.
And I remember she just kept loving on me. And I said, why are you loving on me so much? Because I was uncomfortable. And she's hugging all on me. And she goes, because you're finally spending time with me. I said, we've had a swimming pool at every house. We have a beach house. She goes, yeah, but you've never just done it with me. You always had another woman or always had to share you. And that was my best friend. And I haven't seen her since, I don't know, since she went to college. It's been at least 5 years. But my youngest daughter, she emailed me the other day because she heard, you know, I'm going back in for surgery. You know, so the same way I kind of wish harm on my enemies, I guess I'm punishing myself because, you know, I don't talk to any of them. I don't. When she emailed me, I just looked at it and kept it moving. You know, yeah. That's all I have to say about that, Staxx. My apologies.
Do you think it's repairable, your relationship with your kids?
I don't want to.
No.
Nah, I don't. There's more to it than me and you will just talk as friends off the air, but
Yeah.
You know, I think the way I want to die and the way I want to, I just want to go out not bothering nobody. I don't want to be a burden to anybody. You know, I went through kidney failure on my right side and lost my right kidney and did it by myself. You know, I've lost my eyesight. I've done it by myself. I chose this life and I feel like I don't want to bring them in. I've already done so much damage. I don't want to retry to fill that. I'm okay with my niece. I don't want to try to refine that love. And, you know, it's the first time my daughter's ever said she loves me. This was just 4 days ago. And she said, I love you. And if you need anything. I don't need nothing. So, yeah, man. So, yeah. Being a 1%er is you just got to check out.
Were you riding your bike when you got shot?
Yeah.
And what happened? Were you riding it? Like, were you actively riding your bike when it happened?
I was on the 10 freeway leaving Roadrunner Harley Davidson. I don't want to get too much into it, Staxx, but I was leaving Roadrunner Harley. And I told my guys, I don't like riding with nobody. You know, I don't like riding with anybody. People are like, why you join a motorcycle club? Because I love the life of it, but I really don't want to ride with none of y'all. You know, white boy Art, chosen few, 50-something years, always rode everywhere by himself. And I asked him one day, I said, we were heading somewhere to Colorado and we saw white boy Art like 400 miles and we caught him at the gas station. I said, white boy, why are you're 67, 70 years old? Why are you always by yourself? He goes, because I know when I want to stop. So that day we were at an event and I told my guys, y'all go ahead and go. Like, Prez, you know, I said, nah, man, y'all go ahead and go. And, you know, not to get too deep into it, I turned left. I lied and said I was going to go to my ex-wife who lives over in a city called Waddell. So that way my guys will think that's why I just didn't want to ride with them. So I got on the freeway at Estrella Parkway, and, you know, what happened. There's video of it on Instagram. People want to know about it, then go to my Instagram. I just talk about, say, on this day, you see the bike on fire. I think you saw it. The bike's on fire. Then I show. Yeah.
Insane that you survived it.
Yeah, bullet went in behind here, came up my chin. Another went in through my side. That's how I lost my eyesight. I tell people I just got a really bad facelift. So, yeah, man. But other than that, I don't. You know, I'm a pretty happy dude. You know, I'm heading to Virginia tomorrow to go shoot a music video with my brother Hessam. We have a hit song right now called Our House. It's a remix to Welcome to My House by New Breed.
You know, a lot of music. The Akon song, the
Akon
song,
Ghetto Diamond just came out. That video is out. I have a song with Jelly Roll, Jelly Roll and Cocaine. That's out, called Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood.
How did that come about? The Jelly Roll song.
So I met Jelly. Here's what's crazy about Jelly and Struggle Jennings. If you type in, you know, white America loves us some Jelly and Struggle Jennings now. Nothing wrong with that, but give us evenly all the same. You know, Kid Rock gets to sing Sweet Home Alabama and he's from Detroit. Detroit is as close to Alabama as California to Japan. You know, his dad owned, you know, a Cadillac dealership in an all-black neighborhood. You know what I mean? Kid Rock's first kid was from a black girl. But he now gets to be country, you know, sweet you, Kid Rock. I can't. I'm not even, that's the first time I ever said that. You know, I knew him, I met him, and it just, I don't like the word trying to be black, but he embraced the urban when his hair was in a flat top. And I don't like that, You get to play both sides. But anyway, who's never changed up, just America has accepted them, is Struggle and Jelly. If anybody's watching this, type in Haystack Jelly Roll. And you'll pull up a video from the early 2000s, and you'll see two big fat white boys with French braids down to their back, with big white tees, khakis, and Air Force Ones on, claiming gangster disciples out of Memphis. That's Jelly Roll and Struggle Jennings. Struggle Jennings from GD. He's a GD, which means he embraced the black, they were rappers.
Yeah.
And Jelly opened for Bone Thugs and Harmony. I couldn't tell you how many times. He opened for Tech Nine. Jelly is not an overnight success. I've known of Jelly since 2000.
Yeah, I've seen over the years putting in so much work, and Struggle Jennings going to jail.
Yes. And I did a deal with Selecto Hits, which is legendary. Their great grandfather pressed up Elvis Presley's first records. I think it was 2005. I did a deal with Selecto Hits. I gave him a Bone record. I gave him 3 records, bunch of stuff. And I remember we did a show with Haystack, and I see this guy Jelly Roll was dope, and he was not singing. He was busting. Struggle Jennings, bananas, can bust. You would not think, like when I listen to Eminem, he sounds like a white boy. No hate on Eminem. I'm not a fan of his, but he sounds like, when I heard Jelly and Struggle, if I closed my eyes, I thought I was listening to J-Dog and B-Stone, Yeah. But so Cocaine is my twin. Me and Cocaine have known each other for at least, oh my God, since 92. We've called each other twin, and we've never done a song together. And I just did a song with Chino XL, may rest in peace. That's another one of my twins. We have a song called Church on Time. And me and Cocaine would just always reach out with each other. My phone happened to ring, and it's Cocaine. And he's like, twin, that song is bananas. And I'm like, twin, we've never done nothing. He's like, you're right. And I sent him the beat by Jake Angel. And I said, man, I'm going to try to get Jelly on this. And I had no connection with Jelly. I hadn't seen him since early 2000s. I sent it to somebody else who knew him, and he sent me the verse the next day. I literally think he did it on his bus, because it sounds like he did it on his bus. Yeah. So did the Jelly Roll song, Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. It's doing amazing. You just showed the picture. I have a new song with Bruno Mars called What You Gonna Do Tonight. How that came about, Big Lee Ford, who used to be partners with Stan Shepard. If you remember, DJ Quick used to always say Shepard Lane.
Yeah. Stan
Shepard, famous Stan Shepard. His dad was Bunky Shepard, who worked. If you ever get the book, any music person should get the book. You know what's crazy, Staxx? As we talk, I have to be lying, because no person should have been able to do. When I always say my life is, and I don't mean this sound like a martyr, but I've always been just light skinned enough to fit over here, but I'm definitely hood enough to be from where I'm from. But when I tell these stories, even sometimes I catch myself and go, that's saying, you can't make this up. I got shot in 2000. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm at Backroom Studio in Glendale, recording my own album with my own dirty money. And Lazy Bones behind me, Ice-T's behind me. That picture, right? See that picture with Ice-T up top and Lazy Bone?
Yeah.
Do you notice what I have on?
Yeah, the jail suit.
Thank you.
Just got out.
Just got out.
Yeah.
And back then, you used to leave with your jumpsuits. If you didn't have no dress outs, and I came home broke. Selling drugs is not a payoff, because I came home with $83. I had gate fee money, which was $65, and then I think I had some money what I sold when I was leaving. Anyway, I'm at the studio. They say, Stan Shepard wants to meet you. Stan Shepard comes. He offers me like $75,000 that night. I'm like, bro, I got 75 in that gray briefcase. Everybody, you ask Battle Cat, because I've known Battle Cat since I was 10, 11 years old. I used to always carry this metal briefcase, and I had a pistol and it had dirty money in it. Bought my first house with that briefcase. paid for all my music stuff. I've never been signed to a record deal. And he offered me a deal. I said no. His partner was Lee Ford, who's a reputable Red Rag. We became the best of friends, called me little brother, and he knew a guy that was working with Bruno Mars when Bruno Mars was just a Mexican dude living in Vegas, which a lot of people, they think he's Hawaiian. He's actually Mexican. He had some unreleased music from Neo and some unreleased music from Bruno Mars. Acapellas. This is when these guys were, because Neo's from Vegas. And Bruno Mars was trying to make it in Vegas. I think he was working in Vegas or something, but he was not Bruno Mars. I probably had that verse for a few years. Finally put it to that 112 track. We sent it to his manager and it got cleared. And the song is out. What you gonna do tonight?
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't, this is my last album. It's called Born and Raised. It's got a few country urban joints. I'm not trying to follow. I do, I've got, where's that?
How many albums did you have? How many albums do you have?
I put out Thunderdome, Going Head Up, Hood Hits, Last Round. And if you look, all my albums are named after fighting. Thunderdome, Hood Hits, Going Head Up, Last Round, Undisputed. I've only put out like 7 albums. The rest have been like, mixed things that I've done, me and Lazy Bone, but this is my last album. I did a one-off deal with Empire, then my catalog. These songs are going on there. I have a song with a new artist by the name of Pilot Two Hill that I produced with Dame Grease that has Sia, famous Sia, Chandelier singer. I have a song with Max B, because everybody knows if you type in who owns the Tupac Masters, type it in, you'll see an interview with Steve Lobel and Molly Mall, the producer Molly Mall. And he says a cat by the name of Cass and Rolling 60s had about 100 something, 50. I bought 50. That's how that Pac's Life album was able to happen. This is another one of those moments people, oh yeah, whatever. I remember some dude called me a bitch. How you own the Tupac Master? You only had $86 in your account when you claimed bankruptcy. Yes, and 50 Cent only had 500. That's how it works, dum-dum. That's all I'm supposed to have is $86. But I have a song called, I think they changed the name. I know that one version was called Rain, but it has Max B, the famous Max B, who's got 75 years. Now they shortened it. There's 2 versions.
He'll be out soon.
Right? Yeah, he will be home soon. I think this summer. But I have a version with him called Rain on Me. And then there's an unreleased version where I supplied an unreleased Biggie and an unreleased Tupac, produced by Dan Grease, and has Max B on it. So that's going to be on the album. It's just, I'm having fun. I'm never going to perform. It's never going to happen, ever. You're never going to see me on a stage. It's not a money grab. I have so much catalog. I can just keep putting records out from other artists. I started buying catalog from other artists. I learned it from, I don't remember the brother's name. He was from Oakland. He would buy verses. You out on tour, he see Yuck Mouth or you see Jay-Z or Rick Ross, he'd buy. So over the years, Rick Ross, in the early stages, opened for us. It was us, Mac 10, Young Jeezy, and Rick Ross. And if Cats had some, I'd buy a verse off. If they had something they did already, I'd buy. So my catalog is extensive.
That's wild.
Yeah, man. So I've just had fun with it, man. I very rarely, with the last of doing Sway, I haven't done a podcast a couple years. I think it's been 2 years since I did Holden Court. And I'm glad we finally got to knock this out, man.
Me too, man. And you're welcome back here anytime.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any interest. But
don't worry, I'm gonna leave the interview up.
Hey, man, right? I can't mix words. I do regurgitate the same thing because it's the same life. But the beautiful thing is, I said, "What do you want to talk about?" I said, "Can I give you?" Remember, I said, "Can I tell you?" And you're like, and you hit me with like 8 things. I was like, "Oh, never mind. You got to figure it out." And we stuck to the script. But people can grab the book. I made it off the block. It hit number 5 on Amazon. Look on the back of it. That same picture has Ice-T on the back of it because he's the one that helped me get the book deal. And the book is about just that, making it out of any situation. And it just tells this. If anybody remembers the movie little big man with Dustin Hoffman. That's kind of how my book is. Not white enough, not Latin enough, not black enough, not really sure where I fit in. I've just managed to live. And, you know, let me give you the tour of, now I'm gonna bring all the loudness. So obviously this is my office, my messy office, you know, with all my fake plaques, my Photoshop pictures. That was my alcohol, Outlaw Vodka. Where's my beautiful niece? She's been tapping on my door. There's my hi. Sorry, I was doing an interview. Say hi. I'm doing TV.
Hey.
What up, nephew? All right. So this is the entryway. This is our famous sign. Why be fat and ugly when you could train now and just be ugly?
I said, I got to get in shape. My girl goes, rounds of shape.
Well, so is a bank account, shape of money.
Yeah.
We just got back from Thailand. That's the retail shop. The gym is called Zybeth. I'm gonna show you the king of kings. That's the god right there, Vince Zybeth. That's my business partner and my teacher. And all these beautiful people are. Let me walk you over to Vin. All right, if anybody got felonies, don't be in this picture. That's the god right there, Big Vin. See that? That's the champ. That's the champ. So that's my brother Vin.
How you doing, man?
This is Staxx TV. Chatting with Staxx.
What's up, man?
How long you at the gym now? 11 years.
Wow.
And he ain't nothing but ex-convict too, Staxx. But this is a success story.
Hey, that's what it's about, man.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, this is the gym. Let me give you a quick. All right. Let me get out this loudness. Hold on 1 second. So yeah, man. This is what I do.
That's pretty dope.
And this is the famous realtor. Another made it. Wait, can we get is she in there?
How are you? How you doing?
Another success story, straight from the streets. Now she's a top realtor and owner of the gym. Yeah, man. So this is my life.
That's great stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So did we miss anything or we got everything?
No, we got everything. We'll do this again. I'm sure we can talk for hours and hours, you know?
And I'll, if you could post the link to the website if people want to grab the documentary Life of a One Percenter, the documentary Prison to Fame. They can grab an autographed copy of the book. I made it off the block.
I'll put your book. I'll put a link in the description of the video. I'll put a link for anything you got.
You know, me and my partner, we own Mo Thugs Records together now. And we have MTR, which is Mo Thugs Records, but we represent athletes. So we got, you know, licensed athletes now. The whole thing about Head Knockers is, like, hold on. We have a patch that says guns down. And that's what we focus on. Like, man, ain't nothing wrong with, we're not sitting up here saying be peaceful. We're saying at least fight.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, brother, this has been fun. I'm going to get back to work before I leave for Virginia. But again, this is your brother Big Cass chatting with Staxx, and this has been a blast.
Thank you, man.
My brother.
If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like the show, do that. Start your own podcast.
That part. My brother.